I've had 3 different cars with that Honda badge in my driveway. One of my favorites. Hi everybody and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:64 scale Hot Wheels 1992 Honda Civic EG. I've had 4 different Hondas over the years, 3 of them different Civic models, and a particular Accord lasted me 11 years and over 340,000 kilometers until I had to sell it when I moved overseas to Indonesia. Best car I ever had. This little one is going to be my entry to the February Four Horsemen Invitational on the theme of rally cars. Mine's brand new, so I don't anticipate finding any defects or problems with it, but I do have a complete makeover in mind. As always, this project starts with drilling out the plastic rivets to separate the chassis from the body. Okay, off to a good start. Taking it apart reveals a sunroof on the top of the die-cast body, and that's where the glass protrudes a little bit. I want to do away with that to make it into a racer. Hey, I got a right-hand drive this time. There's the plastic chassis with minimal details underneath and the original plastic wheels. I'll pop them out by separating these 3 tabs that hold the axles in place. Upgraded wheels in store. Red is going to be one of the predominant colors in my custom makeover, but it still serves me best to strip it all the way at the beginning and start fresh. I've seen better results. Time to get out the brass brush and get down to some bare metal detail so that this one's ready for the next step. That step is filling in the sunroof. I'll do that by masking off the hole, mixing up some JB Quick, and I'll apply that from the inside. Hardens up pretty quickly, as the name promises, so I can peel away the tape. Doesn't look like it needs any filing, but I always take a moment to put some glaze putty on top of there for some fine sanding, which gives me a better finish. Coming soon on Maple Leaf Customs, you're going to see an AMX Javelin Resto Mod, followed by the annual All Porsche Invitational on March 14th, Ken Block's Audi S1 e-tron Quattro, a Land Rover Safari, and a full 3D printed all-terrain tugboat. Very interesting stuff coming up. So I hope you'll be all subbed up. Hit that bell. Don't miss a thing. It's all free. It's the next morning before I do the fine sanding on that glaze putty, which gives me a perfect finish on the roof. After some degreasing, it's ready to hit the paint spray booth for some Kaleido matte white primer. Taking a closer look at the real racer, you'll see that I need a rear wing spoiler. which I printed up on my Elegoo Saturn 4 Ultra resin printer. That'll get painted and detailed and applied at the very end. The custom job calls for a very specific racing stripe livery, which I thought about doing by masking and then airbrushing, but I thought I'll do this stage by decal application, including the door rondo with the number. I'll paint what's left after this. It's easy to apply decals on a white finish. There's the look of the hood. And another inspiration pick. Today's community shoutout goes to Rick's Diecast World. There's a link in the description of this video that you can follow to discover that for yourself, and I hope you will. I've laid out 6 different shades of red paint bottles because my next task is to match up the decals as closely as possible. I'll hit a few spots by hand here just to see how close I am. They're all slightly different. And once I made my decision, I masked off everything that needs to be covered. There was a clear coat applied to protect the decals. What's exposed white will now be shot in Kaleido Shine Red. I'm using a Gaahleri swallowtail airbrush with a 0.5mm needle. Air pressure is set to right around 20 psi. I wait about 20 minutes till the paint is tacky but not dry before I carefully unmask the tape that was applied for protection. Because of the clear coat application, there's no paint liftoff in this process. You know, the rims are different in almost every picture of the real car, but still I'm doing away with the original plastic ones. I decided to go with a new set of Samed wheels with white rims to match the livery. I'll do a little bit of chassis detail when I can. This Hot Wheels casting gave me a little bit of exhaust and suspension to work with, so I hit those highlights with a fine-tip chrome pen. Once the red paint on the roof is set, I can apply the final decals there and on the front and rear quarter panels as well, according to the Google images I've got. I make my own decals by sourcing the pics online, scaling them down to size, and printing them on an HP LaserJet printer with the proper water slide decal paper. When these are dried up, I'll apply 2 coats of Kaleido gloss varnish. I'm always happy to get to this final stage of reassembly, especially if I can report to you that I didn't have any major missteps along the way. You can see how I detailed the glass and removed that bubble in the roof, some racing harnesses, and a couple of red highlights on the interior. There's what I did to the plastic chassis. New Samad wheels, as previously reported. There's my 3D printed spoiler, all done up. And two side skirts with racing sponsors. That's micro small. They'll go on at the very end with the spoiler. This was a really easy reassembly. My only concern was the glass going in over the closed-in sunroof opening, because there was a little bit of Chibi Quick in there as a patch, but that turned out to be a non-issue. After the two replacement screws go in to hold the chassis to the body, I'll affix the spoiler and the side skirts. The pics of the real Civic racer that I featured in this video was built and driven by Eric Cattell. He drove that to the 2020 Grid Life Touring Cup Championship.
Hi, my name's Eric Cattell. I'm originally from NYC, but now I live in Columbus, Ohio, and this is my 1992 Honda Civic. I'm the 2020 GLTC champion, and it was a close battle all season. So the car, it's a 1992 Honda Civic. It's essentially everything but stock at this point. Really nothing has kind of carried over from its stock form. Everything about it has been basically touched or modified. Every single bolt has been removed and redone.
Let's have a closer look at my little Civic. I'm happy with how the red decals and paint combo worked out. It's a pretty close match. The white rims show off nicely, as do all of the custom sponsored decals and the custom printed spoiler and side skirts. The right-hand side steering wheel was the only oopsie between the real car and my custom replica, but I'll still sleep well tonight. It's a racer too. As I said at the onset, I love the little Civics. I've had 3 of them of my own. And Hot Wheels did a decent little casting. I like the race version too. This one came out very nicely, especially considering how small all of the details had to be for accuracy. I always invite you to leave a respectful comment with each of my videos, and be sure to tell me where you're watching from, because I'm keen to know about this worldwide audience. I really appreciate each of your visits, and I invite you to come back regularly. Drive carefully. It's coffee time.